confirming Netherlands, China and Romania going to the A final.
As we have here the semi-final AB, number 2 of the women's quad. Lane 1, Great Britain. Lane 2, Switzerland. Lane 3, Germany. Lane 4, Australia. Lane 5, Ukraine. And lane 6, USA.
Well, this British quad over on the far side, Lauren Henry come into the boat, looking round there in the bow seat, the trials winner Hannah Scott, Lola Anderson, the key to moving that boat so quickly, Georgie Brayshaw in the stroke seats. So the Swiss in lane 2, Celia Dupre closest to us, Pascal Walker, Lisa Locher and Fabienne Schweitzer. Big moment for this Swiss boat. And for this German boat, Sarah Wibbenitz, Frauke Hundling, Pia Greiten and Tabea Schendeckel in the stroke seat, the Hansa Dortmund oarswoman. There are the Australians, all Tokyo Olympians, bar Kate Cronin, the Sydney University Boat Club, originally from Queensland. There are the Ukrainians, a couple of Olympic champions from 2012, Darina Vakogliad in the bows, Natalia Dovgodo, Anastasia Kozenkenba and Katerina Dudchenko. And there's the USA quad, Molly Reckford, former lightweight oarswoman, Lauren O'Connor, Grace Joyce, Emily Kalfelt in the stroke seat, coached by Isabel Jacobs, the former Dutch coach. They're up against it in lane 6. Top 3 will qualify for the Paris Olympics, qualify their boat.
So Australia took that bronze medal in the women's quadruple scull at the Tokyo Olympics in very tricky conditions. Can they do it again and get themselves into the A final here? As you said, Martin, 3 members of that Olympic bronze medal crew, with Kate Rowan coming into the stroke seat. Rhea Thompson was in that boat in Tokyo but has had an injury this season and is at home at the moment but looking to come back for Paris. But we see a fast start here in lane 5 from Ukraine with about a canvas lead, but it's going to get tough down the track for these boats in 5 and 6.
Yeah, experienced crew from Ukraine here. They were 5th at Lucerne. They actually won the European Championships. But you can see just how difficult the conditions are right across the course. But we know that through the middle it gets particularly difficult on this side. And you probably want to be over on the far side where the British crew are. And they're just starting to ease into a little lead now.
And the Ukrainians do go out quick, Greg. They have got that facility. They've got those 2 Olympic champions in this Ukrainian boat. But, you know, I think Dovgodo and Kozenkova, 37 years, 32 and 37 years of age, are up against it as we come into the second.
Yeah, and we saw that lovely picture of them there in the centre of the lane. They were doing a pretty good job. You could see that it looks like a fairly straight headwind. The Ukrainians at this point handling it very nicely.
Well, I would be delighted, I think, with everything going on in Ukraine and the war. They've been training in Bulgaria. Their coach, Olena Chuprina, wife of the men's quads coach, Nikolai Chuprina, both of them rowers for the former Soviet Union. And it will be fantastic. If this crew qualify from lane 5, it will be the first crew, I think, to qualify from this side of the course for the semi-final.
Well, it has been a bit of a deceptive angle that we've had, but it was the British that came through first in that first 500 metres. It's sort of the way the camera was, looked like it was Ukraine, but just a bit of a check through that 500. First was Great Britain, second Ukraine, third Switzerland, fourth Australia, fifth Germany, and sixth USA.
And here we get this lovely picture again from behind. You can see just how tricky it is. You know, that's so difficult to scull in a quad in those conditions through those waves, to keep the hands clean, to keep the blades clean. And the Ukrainian crew doing really well over here. They're down at 34 strokes a minute. The Swiss over in lane 2 have been at 38, even 39 strokes a minute, just keeping a bit cleaner and staying on top of the water.
Yeah, the Swiss have got to come through, haven't they? You know, with those conditions. I think it's going to be so tough for the Ukrainians, but Nick Lloyd, the British coach, or the Australian coach who works in Switzerland with this quad, he'll have his heart in his mouth. Over there, the British do look really smooth and loose. Lola Anderson anchoring that boat from the 3-seat. That's one behind the stroke woman on the right of your picture, Georgie Brayshaw, wearing that white cap. Former Surbiton school. There are the Swiss going through the Ukrainians. I guess that's going to be The Australians now that are aiming for the Ukrainians, looking across. You saw Katerina Dudchenko look across at the bow of the Australians, Rowena Meredith, and they're just half a length behind. It's only halfway, Greg.
Well, it is only halfway. I bet the Ukrainians are wishing it was just a 1,000-metre race, because we've seen it gets difficult in the second half. As it is, they'll look to their left. The Australian quad has a good overlap with them as they do well handling these conditions. There's nothing more they can do than scull as well as they can down the centre of their lane. This camera angle shows it. The British very well out in front. We've talked a bit about them, what a great performance they're putting in. They're likely to be the winners here. But look at the Australians coming back on Ukraine here.
The Australians starting to work through the Ukrainians, as you say, and through the Swiss as well. As I said, 3 of the Tokyo bronze medal winning crew there, so we know that they've got the speed and the technical capability, especially in the tricky water. I think they're starting to work through here. Perhaps they will get the Swiss.
I'd take Australia to get through the Ukraine, I think, at this point of the race. I've just seen the Ukrainians not have that sprint in the last 250. I really do want the Ukrainians to qualify, but I think Australia will come through. I think Swiss maybe are the vulnerable ones, Sarah.
Yeah, a little bit of disappointment for the Germans as well, that the German crew have got lane 3. It's one of those favoured lanes. We haven't seen many crews, even from lane 4, qualifying. As we take a look here at the Swiss, high rating. It just looks a bit calmer and a bit quieter in that lane compared to what we see the Ukrainians having to be sculling through.
Yeah, it does. The conditions across the course. A reminder, though, that the Swiss got that lane because of their better placement in the earlier heats. Australia now in qualifying position, Sarah.
Yeah, we see the Swiss and the Australians both move through Ukraine. Is Ukraine going to have a response? Because starting to challenge them is the Germans, but they're currently sitting well off qualifying position. Only 500 metres to go. This will be a very quick last quarter of the race, given the conditions.
Great Britain hit the 500 to go mark in front. A commanding lead for them. Switzerland in second place. Australia now challenging for the second place. It could be vital for that lane in the final. And those 3 crews look to be headed. There's the Germans. I think they're back in 5th place.
Yeah, the Germans obviously so strong in the quad in the past. We had big hopes for them. They were 6th at Lucerne, but it's looking like they're struggling to make it into the A final here, even with having earned that good lane for them over there in lane number 3.
Yeah, there we see the race with the Ukrainians trying to get back on the Australians, but it's a big ask over this side of the course where the conditions are tougher.
And it looks as though the Swiss now starting to challenge the British. It's a bit of a tough angle to read, but the British down on 35, the Australians down on 36, the Swiss up at 39, so the Swiss looking to send a sign here.
So important for the Ukrainians to get 4th place, because the best chance they've got for qualifying for the Olympics is now to win the B final. Top 7 crews go through.
Yeah, massive, trying to get into a good position for that B final. The British looking very commanding out in front. The Swiss have been high rating the whole way. Australia looking good for 3rd. It's really just whether Ukraine have gone hard early, can hang on for that 4th place and at least try and set themselves up for a good performance in the B final.
So Britain coming up to the finish, a look round by Lauren Henry there, the 21-year-old. Yes, you're coming through to the finish, Lauren, and you are going to qualify for Paris. Congratulations to Britain. Great scull from the Nicholas Lloyd coached Swiss crew. Delight will be on their faces, and Australia too. And I think Ukraine will just hold off the Germans for that vital 4th place, gets them a better B final draw. The Germans closing at the end, but finished in 5th place. And finally, Lauren O'Connor, Molly Reckford, Grace Joyce and Ellery Calfelts from the USA coming up to the finish line and crossing it now. Not to be for them today. They will try and finish 7th in the B final. Yeah, Fabienne Schweitzer, the Swiss bellwoman, slapping the back of Lisa Lucia there.
Yeah, big celebration. It's been tough work to get into that A final. See the Australians, they'll be pleased, I'm sure, Sarah, from lane 4 to have got through the Germans and got that qualifying place.